after months of slow travel and enjoying what we're doing, I don't feel like I'm enjoying what we're doing right now. I don't like the chaoticness of it. I don't like the stressfulness of it. I don't like the planning that we have to do. I just can't imagine living this way for any period of time. I just can't. Welcome back to findGinaMarie, where we share our lives as full-time travelers and the connections we make along the way.
If you're new here, I'm Judy.
And I'm Kevin.
Welcome. So what's the problem? Why are you so unhappy?
I'm unhappy because we are staying in a place for a week, and then we're staying in another place for a week, and we don't normally do that. We are slow travelers. We stay places for weeks at a time, and now there's no chill time. There's no relaxed time. It's go, go, go.
And to make matters worse, there's another week at a time before we're anywhere for a month.
Yeah, and what we normally do when we get to a place is what?
So normally what we do is after traveling, we will take a couple of days to decompress, just try to get a lay of the land, figure out where the grocery store is, where we can get coffee. We typically eat out the first couple of days and just kind of have low-key energy.
Yeah, because we are traveling, maybe a whole day of travel where we're on different flights or different trains. And I think that time to just decompress helps me. And we're also looking at what our apartment's like. You know, the Airbnb we're in, we have to figure out where stuff goes, where what's good and bad about it. I think that takes time just to get familiar with where you are.
Well, also for us, because we have a YouTube channel, we're editing videos and scripting and recording. And
that's part of the problem. We have to figure out where we're doing all that in a city or where we're sitting, and each Airbnb is different. Each one either is pretty ideal with where we're sitting, and some places are not so ideal. So we don't have that right now, though.
Right. But the point that I was trying to get to was sometimes it takes us a couple of weeks before we really get time to explore the city, like deep dive and schedule tours or do activities and see the sights that normally if you were on vacation, you would land and you would just go. Well, for us, it kind of works backwards. So we have a hard push at the end of our stays.
Not always ideal.
Right. It's not. But it means that when we get to a new city, we're exhausted because we've just kind of run pretty crazy schedule.
We're playing catch up.
Right.
We're trying to create videos sometimes for the previous location. And that means we have to, again, take what we did at the very end of that trip and try to make sure we record it in some sort of semblance of, hey, where were we? Oh, yeah. Remember it.
Exactly. Capturing everything. So it takes a little bit of time to get acclimated to a new place.
So why are we doing this then if this is not fun for me? And I don't think it's fun for you either because it is vacation mode. We are chop, chop, chop. Let's go do stuff.
So let's back up a little bit. It's never been our intention to just put our foot in every country or city that we possibly can. Part of why we're traveling is to make connections along the way. We say that on every video, and it's really true. Yeah. But at the same time, there is this struggle where there are really a lot of places that we want to experience. So it's not just that we want to spend 6 or 8 months in a particular city. We want to see a lot of cities and a lot of countries. And so there's this balancing act, and we're also fighting against Schengen.
Yeah. You did mention that as we're planning out this trip in Europe, how many different countries you'd like to hit and do and see. And so that crunched our time a little bit, even in this period. But you were talking about more, we're just so close to that border. Could we just pop across, and see this other city? That would be so cool. And we have to keep reminding ourselves that there's no end to this right now. We have no deadline. We are planning to do this for years. So we'll just have to come back to this area of the world and start over again, figuring out where we want to go. We can't squish it all in.
Right. I guess I'm just being mindful of potential circumstances that could change things. And I don't know what they would be, but I don't want to find that our travel was cut short and we have regrets of places that we didn't go or areas that we didn't see. And I know we have a whole lifetime ahead of us, but I don't want to take any moment for granted.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I don't want to live in fear of what if we don't get to travel again? You know, I would like to be more optimistic about it. But I do understand. I do understand, what if we can't get back here? What if family situation or health situations happen or whatever else? Which is one of the reasons why we are doing this now in our lives.
So we didn't actually say this earlier, but we're coming to you from Genoa, Italy. And we're here in part because a couple of our viewers had recommended that we come here, and also to another Italian town. And while we're in Genoa, it makes sense to also see a side city. And so we're going to have to take a train to do that. And we're excited, but the fact that it's Thursday and we're leaving on Monday, I don't think I have that in my head. I'm not used to traveling in this manner.
Panic attack, panic attack. This feels like the last week of our normal month stay. We're trying to cram everything in that we didn't get to. But we've never had the other 3 weeks of chill and get to know the area and wandering about. And it feels wrong.
I'm uncomfortable because I know that that's what it's going to be like for the foreseeable future. Because even when we get to the end of the year, after we've been where we need to be in Europe, and then we go back to the United States for a couple of weeks, we're going to encounter the same kinds of things in Southeast Asia. There's so many countries we want to see. I don't know that we can stay in one place as a home base for an entire month, because it might be practical to go 2 weeks at a time here and then 2 weeks at a time there, just in the same country.
Well, this is the discussion we've started earlier today, is why can't we make sure we do slow travel in Southeast Asia? What would be the problem? We had one discussion about, we're not really sit on the beach and just chill for a month type people. So if some of these places are more like that, where there's just low key, not a lot to do, that would be hard for us to stay a whole month. We do like to see things and visit places. So if you have any experience in Southeast Asia, any of the countries, we're open to anything. Let us know in the comments your tips, because we're really trying to work out where we can go for longer time periods and really experience the culture and the people, and not have this vacation mode, not have this rush all the time. So I think it's a big question mark right now. Any tips and advice you have for us, we'd love to hear them.
One of the things that I enjoy is to just find some of the hidden gems and explore maybe off the beaten paths. And right now, I feel like we have to see the highlights of every place. And that's uncomfortable for me. So we could just decide that we are going to slow travel and spend a month in each place, and that's like a rule. But I'm not really wanting to do that either. So I'm creating this dilemma for us as well, knowingly.
Well, why are you doing this to us then? Because I want to live as a local. I mean, I'm enjoying some of the places. Like Egypt was really hard for me, especially when we went to live in a very poor area of Giza. That took a few days for me just to get comfortable being there without jettisoning and saying, let's go find a hotel somewhere, because this is really uncomfortable. But I did get comfortable. It just took several days to do that. And if we're not going to stay in a place long enough for me to feel like I'm at least somewhat a local, I don't know, that's going to be hard.
But there is a balance, because there's a lot of cool and interesting places that we want to see. So I think in some respects, we're making a choice to say sometimes we're going to be really uncomfortable and we're going to fast travel, but it's not our ideal way. So we want to minimize how much time we spend doing that.
I think that's a good plan.
One of the places that we're going to be in the upcoming months, if we stayed at least 21 days, it was cheaper. If we stayed 20 days, it was going to be as much or more than staying an entire month. So, of course, we're going to stay a month.
But that adds to your logistics. She's always working on making sure that if we stay just 2 more days, we get a bigger discount. But then we have to shift this other city and we can't get to there. And then we have to worry about weather if we're shifting too many cities into a cold or hot season. There's a lot of logistics to this. There's a lot of geographic arbitrage that we're doing all the time.
I don't feel like we're setting ourselves up to be done and saying, okay, we've been in France, we've been to Paris, and we've been to the south of France, and we don't have any reason
Check
to be
and we're
back
done. Yeah,
to France.
I don't think there's many places that we've said, check, we're done with that country or city or place. And I think that's kind of good.
Right.
That we're seeing enough of these places, we're seeing enough depth of these places that we want to go back, that we want to explore more.
We're excited that we get to be full-time travelers, and we love that we have these kinds of problems that we have to solve. We realize that these are first world problems, and in the grand scheme of things, they're not really problems at all. We are very fortunate to be doing what we're doing. But we also know that we have people who are following us who are full-time travelers or who want to be full-time travelers soon and are working on a plan so that they can do what we're doing.
What we're down to here is balance. It's what do we want to get out of each place that we go to? How do we want to experience it best? Knowing that this is a privilege to be able to choose where we go next, but knowing that we do have a lot of restrictions. We are not wealthy. We don't have unlimited funds to do this. So maybe we can show you who want to do this also some of the tricks that we found to saving a little bit of money, some of the ways we found to explore a place more, all these things that we're learning and making mistakes with. We're hoping that helps some of you get out there and say, yeah, I can do that. If that's the way you're doing it, maybe I can handle it myself.
So I think we have somewhat of an answer in terms of how we go forward. I think in some ways, we just accept the fact that it's not going to be a perfect experience and that we're not going to see everything that we want to see.
This whole process has been learning, and a lot of the feedback we've gotten from people has helped us learn quicker than we would have if we were just doing this by ourselves.
We get so much value out of your comments and all of the ideas and suggestions that you've given to us, which is kind of in some backwards way how we're in this situation, because we didn't know what we didn't know. And as we're hearing about all of the amazing places, we just want to see them all. Or mostly me, like I think you want to too, but I feel the urgency. Oh, well, we have to go to this place while we're near here. How can we pass it up?
Yeah, sometimes I don't see the schedule right away. I'm like, what have you done to us? We believe that this channel is about giving you information related to places that we go and tours that we take and the exploration that we do in these various cities and countries. But it also is about our process and how we deal with issues and how we deal with trying to make all this work and this slow travel versus quick travel versus vacation mode. All that is a struggle that I think might help some people out there understand what the process is to become travelers.
So if that sounds appealing to you, we hope you'll subscribe. Give us a like if you enjoyed this video. It helps us to know if you want to hear more about this type of content.
And check out findGinaMarie.com, where we'll definitely have some articles and more information with Judy's journal talking about some of our trials and tribulations.
Until next time.
Until next time.